Hello BookTube, my name is Valerie, and it has been way too long since I made a video, so as usual we have some catching up to do. Today I'm going to be talking about the books that I read in February, which I know was a while ago now, and then soon I'll be posting a video about everything that I read in March, and then we'll be all caught up. So today, February. So I read 4 books in February. The first one was The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I don't know if you guys can tell, I'm really excited because I am using my camera so that I can actually see myself while I'm filming. I couldn't before, and so I would have like the book down here or like over there, and this would be better. So anyway, I read The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I really enjoyed this book. I know they say not to judge a book by its cover, but I definitely judged this book by its cover positively. It was basically the only reason I wanted to read this book, was because the cover is just beautiful. This isn't the cover that first caught my eye, but I still like this one. There's one that's just got the circus and like 2 people without the hand, that I had seen before, which I may buy that version of the book, but either way, it's very pretty, and I think definitely does a good job of giving you an idea of the atmosphere that the book is going to have, because going into it, that was all I really knew about the book, was that it had a pretty cover, and I assumed there was a circus that took place at night. So I'm not going to say too much about the plot of this book because I don't want to give away spoilers, but I particularly enjoyed the atmosphere of this book and the setting and the description. It just was described so vividly that you felt like you were really there, and it was just very rich, vivid description without being too descriptive and too detailed, because sometimes I get really frustrated when authors like go on for pages and pages about details that aren't really interesting, but this was not that. This was the perfect amount of detail. Also, I need there to be a night circus that I can attend because I want to go to one now. But basically, Erin Morgenstern has an incredible imagination to be able to come up with all of these magical inventions and creations and ideas that happen at the Night Circus and elsewhere in the book. There was only really one thing that I disliked at all about this book, and I really wasn't even say I disliked it, it just confused me some, was that it skipped around in time, and I like when books do that, but sometimes it did get confusing because there'd be one chapter that would happen in one year, and then the next chapter would be like fast forward to this year with this group of people, and I was like, wait, 1918, was that before or after this happened? But other than that, I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I highly recommend it, and I gave it 5 stars on Goodreads. One other thing I wanted to say about this book that was really interesting to me was that it started out as a NaNoWriMo. I don't know if you all are aware of NaNoWriMo, but it's National Novel Writing Month, and it's in November, and people try and write 50,000 words, a 50,000 word novel, which is kind of short for a novel, in a month. And the funny part about it is that she wrote the rough draft, I guess, of this in November 2005, which was the only year that I participated in NaNoWriMo and did complete 50,000 words. No, you cannot read my book because it's really bad. I was 18. It's bad. It was bad. But I did it. I wrote 50,000 words, so that's something. That counts for something, right? Anyway, this was really good. You should read it. So the next book I read was the first volume of The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. I had been wanting to read a graphic novel for a while because I kept seeing them on BookTube and thought, oh, I've never read a graphic novel before, so that could be interesting. And I wasn't sure where to start, and apparently this was not the right place to start. In fact, I don't think I should have read this book, period. I'll kind of show you an example of some of the artwork, if I can find any that I like. I don't know, this is kind of a neat, with the Hunter balloon and stuff, but I don't know, it was alright. So here's the thing about this book. This was terrible. I did not really derive any enjoyment from this book whatsoever, aside from occasionally the steampunk architecture artwork type thing it had going on, but I remembered having seen the movie of this, and I thought it was pretty good, but that was a few years ago, and maybe I just forgot, or maybe it wasn't as bad as the graphic novel, or maybe it's just because I've changed a lot in the last few years and I'm much more aware of things like racism and sexism and that sort of thing, and this book is all of those things. It's bad. So all of the male characters in this book are sexist, and one of them is a confirmed rapist, and the other characters like barely side-eye him and then go on as if it didn't happen. What? The villains in this book are all Chinese and very stereotypical, and it definitely comes across as racist. So not only was all of this mess happening, but as far as the plot goes, I really wasn't interested in that either, because I didn't care about the characters, and so I had no connection to them. So when they went on adventures and things, I wasn't like worried that they were going to die. I was kind of hoping that some of them might. So obviously I gave this 1 star on Goodreads, and I'm not even sure it deserves that. But what I would really like to ask is if anyone reads more graphic novels than I do and can recommend some that I might like, that would be good ones to start with. Please let me know in the comments, because I'm interested in reading graphic novels because I keep seeing them on BookTube and they seem interesting, but apparently that was not the right one to read first. So I'm planning on reading the first volume of Miss Marvel, if and when I can find a copy of it. I can't find it at my library yet, but when I find a copy of it, I'm going to read that because it sounds really good. But if anyone knows of any more PG-13 and less racist and less sexist graphic novels, then that would be great. So let me know. So the next book I read in February was Guards by Terry Pratchett. Sadly, Terry Pratchett actually passed away last month, and I was really sad when I found out, because his books are so entertaining and deceivingly deep, and I know that there are a ton of people who have been huge fans of him and his work for decades. I think I read my first Discworld book in my senior year of college. It was Going Postal, one of the later books. I'd been looking for the first one and they never had it at the library, so I was like, oh, I'll just read one of the other ones. And I had no idea what I was getting myself into, but I really enjoyed it. It was really entertaining, so later I went back and started reading them in publication order, and I've really been enjoying them for the most part, and Guards is no exception. This is one of the longer of the Discworld books that I've read, but I really enjoyed it. The book starts out with a middle-aged, kind of cynical, alcoholic policeman in Ankh-Morpork. He's the head of the police force, which is called the Night Watch in Ankh-Morpork, which is the main city that is focused on in Discworld. And he ends up investigating a group of mysterious men who are trying to unleash a dragon on the city, and that's all I will say, so I don't give away any spoilers. So this book was a lot of fun. Discworld books are always a lot of fun, and I gave this one 4 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and I highly recommend it. And the last book that I finished in February was the Harlequin Tea Set by Agatha Christie. This is a collection of short stories. I actually started this back in, I want to say it had to be October, because it was during the Dewey's 24-hour readathon. So yes, nearly 6 months ago now, because they're about to have the next one in a couple weeks. So so I started it then, and I finished it in February. And as you may know if you've watched any of my other videos, Agatha Christie is one of my favorite authors, or if you've looked at any of these books up here, these are all Agatha Christie. So she's one of my favorite authors, and I did enjoy this book, but it's very different than some of her other work. I realized a few stories in that I think I've read this one before, but this is a collection of short stories. They are more psychological and supernatural in some cases than her usual detective stories, so it was very different from her usual work, but I did enjoy them for the most part. Some of them were quite strange, and I wasn't sure what to make of them, so I did end up giving this collection as a whole 3 stars on Goodreads. So there you have it. Those are the books that I read in February. Shortly I will be posting a video of all the books that I read in March. I know it's going to be soon because I'm going to go ahead and film it now while I still have all the library books from when I read them. And please, if you read graphic novels and you have a recommendation for a more, like I said, more PG-13, less racist, less sexist graphic novel, that would be great. With less graphic violence. I forgot to mention League of Extraordinary Gentlemen was way more violent than I expected too. So if you have a recommendation, please let me know. I would love to hear it. That's all I have for today, and so until next time, thank you so much for watching and have a great day.